Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So tonight is Chamisha Asar b'Shvat, the 15th day of Shvat, which is known as Rosh Hashanah for Yelanis, Rosh Hashanah for trees.
Today.
Tonight and tomorrow.
I thought two was right. Chamisha Asar is two.
That's right.
Same thing?
That's right.
Oh.
So the Mishnah says in Rosh Hashanah,
Oh.
says in Echa b'Shvat, Rosh Hashanah l'Ilon Kedim Beishami. Beishami holds that Rosh Hashanah for Yelanis, Rosh Hashanah for trees, is on a Shchei de Shvat, the first day of Shvat. That's Beishami's opinion. Basil Leimim Chamisha Asar by Basil says that on the 15th day on Tezvav of Shvat, that is when Rosh Hashanah Lilanis is. So what does it mean, Rosh Hashanah Lilanis? Rosh Hashanah Lilanis means that then the Peiris Ilan, the fruits of the tree, begin to have chanata. We're going to talk about what chanata means soon, but the fruits of the trees begin to have chanata. We'll talk about that soon. What does the word chanata mean?
Sustenance.
You're saying sustenance, okay? You're saying sap? Sap, okay. Let's see. We'll see soon. These are good svaras.
Growth?
Sorry?
Growth?
Growth. All right, good. Okay. So why does this chanata happen? So the Gemara says, why does kanata happen on this time, at this time? Is because since most of the rain of the year passed, already came, so now kanata is be able to start. So the Rashi says, most of the rain already passed. Shuzman via the time of irrigation, but Allah has sraf bi'lonis, and the sraf, who said the sap, right? The sap already came into the trees. The nimsu hapetis painting ma'ata. Now the potatoes, the fruits are having chanata now. Again, we'll talk about what chanata means. So that's what Rashi and Taisa says. The Meiri says that as we know, the year is divided into tkufis. There's different seasons, and the season of Tevis, the tkufis Tevis, just begins from Tevis time until from the beginning of Tevis until Nisan, and if you half of that period is Chamisha Asar b'Shvat, 6 weeks, starting from the Shchedesh Tevis until Chamisha Asar b'Shvat, 6 weeks, right? Well, right, Tevis is 4 weeks, and Shvat is another 2 weeks, that's 6 weeks. And then if you add another 6 weeks, right, another 2 weeks is going to be the Shchedesh Adar, and then a month is another 4 weeks, that's 6 weeks, is going to be Shchedesh Nisan. So the full for the full season of Tevis is from beginning of Tevis until Nisan. That's 12 weeks. Smack in the middle, 6 weeks is Chamisha Asar Shvat, which then it's hard to feel it right now, but it says that's when the coldness. Tevis is known for being very cold. That's when the coldness starts subsiding, and the Chanata begins. Because since the coldness stops, so the Chanata is able to begin. Doesn't stop, but starts subsiding.
What's Chanatas?
We're getting to the Chanata very soon. So the Yishalmi brings the reason for Chamisha Asar b'Shvat. He says like he brings the opinion of he brings the svara, like the Bavli, that then most of the rain already passed and Chanata starting. Another explanation is because then they were the fruits which grew before Chamisha Asar b'Shvat, they got their waters, their water that helped them grow, got it from the last year, and the ones which are after Chamisha Asar b'Shvat are growing from the waters of this year. So according to that, really the fruits, the Rosh Hashanah for Yilon is really Tishrei. and just what tells us that where these fruits came, when these fruits grew from, if they grew from last year, from this year, it's Chamisha B'Shvat. It just telling us when it is.
Can't take a hint.
So the now what is Kanata? So we kept everyone in suspense. What is
I
Kanata?
want to take another guess.
Yeah,
Sprouting.
sprouting. Okay,
Sprouting.
I think it was blossoming.
blossoming. Okay, we're getting good. I think
Sprouting, maybe. I don't know.
Blossoming on the inside.
Okay.
Inside the tree.
The Rambam,
All right.
the Rambam says that the Rambam says like this. That's like we're going to see soon. What is the halachic ramifications of Chamisha Asar B'Shvat? One of the halachic ramifications is B'negei Meiser. As we know that when someone has Peiris or Tvua, so they have to give Meiser. Have to give Meiser. Now it depends on the year. On there's on the first and the second and the fourth and the fifth, they give Meiser. They say besides for the Meiser which he gives to the Levi, you also have to give Meiser Sheni. Right? What's Meiser Sheni?
Meiser Sheni is where you take it up to Yerushalayim,
Exactly.
or you exchange it for money, and you can take that with you to Yerushalayim, and then you use that to buy food there when you go into the base of Mikdash.
Correct, you got it. So that's on those years, and then there's on the third year on this and the 6th year. So then you have to give Meiser. You give instead of Meiser Sheni, you give Meiser Ani, which means instead of bringing it to Yerushalayim, like you said, and eating in Yerushalayim or redeeming it, so and eating yourself. So here you have to Meiser Ani. You have to give it to the poor. Okay.
Which year is this?
This Meiser Ani is the 3rd and the 6th year.
The Shemitah cycle.
Of the Shemitah cycle, yeah. Correct.
Okay.
So how are we going to know how do we count what year it is, if it's the 3rd or the 4th, right? You want to know if it's the 2nd or the 3rd or the 4th, because you want to know if you have to give Meiser Ani or Meiser Sheni. Right? It changes depending on the year. If it's the 3rd year, you're going to give Meiser Ani. If it's the 2nd or the 4th year, you're going to give Meiser Sheni. So how do we know? So how does it work? So depends for what. So for Tzvua, for wheat and Tzvua, things which grow from the ground, not excluding fruits from the tree, then Rosh Hashanah goes according to Rosh Hashanah. But for fruits of the tree, Peiros Ilan, so that then we follow Chamisha Asar B'Shvat. Also Rosh Hashanah, a different Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah of Ilanis for the trees. Rosh Hashanah for Chamisha Asar B'Shvat. Which means, what does it mean? So the Rambam explains. So really, the Rambam explains that it depends. If the fruits grew to a certain point before Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, so then they're considered part of the past year. If they grew after Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, then they're considered part of the next year. Now, what is that time that it has to grow to be considered enough grown to be considered that Chayiv and Ma'aser before Chamisha Asar B'Shvat? Again, how much does it have to grow in order to be considered part of the last year? How much does it have to grow before Chamisha Asar B'Shvat in order to be considered part of last year? Right? So that every fruit is different. And in Mishnayos Sex Maisris, the beginning over there goes through all the different fruits. And every fruit has a different amount of how much it's considered already getting started, a third or whatever it is, how much the fruit has to grow in order to be considered before Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, in order to be considered from the past year. So according to the Rambam, the Chanata means that amount of how much it has to grow, which there's different amounts for every single fruit. Look in the beginning of Mises, for every fruit has a different amount. So that's how Chanata is. So that's a halakhic ramification of Chamisha Asar B'Shvat. We have to know: are you bringing Meiser Sheni? This fruit which you're taking Meiser, you're going to take Meiser from this fruit. You're going to take a 10. Do you have to take this 10 and give it to the poor person, or could you take it to Yerushalayim and eat in Yerushalayim, or redeem it as a Meiser Sheni or Meiser Ani? Right, and also.
Rosh Chodesh, it can be different from Rosh Chodesh.
For Tzua.
For wheat,
Right.
barley.
Right.
And you have to know what Hanita is for each of them.
Exactly.
And you have to determine, but the Hanita really is underground. It's not, it's the nourishment of, chaff underground. So you don't really know what's going on unless you have the ability to know how much.
So the
Scientists.
Rambam, according to the Rambam, these shiurim, which I said in the Mishnayos, are already when there's a fruit is already growing to a certain extent. It's not. We're not talking about the sap. According to the Rambam, we're not talking about the roots. We're not talking about any of that. According to the Rambam says chanita is when the fruit is grown a certain amount, maybe even a third. You could see it. You don't have to look on the ground. The Rambam. The Rambam says the same. Whatever that says about Meiser,
It's observable. You can see it.
100%. According to the Rambam's the latest stage. He says it's the latest stage. Chanat is he says the latest stage. You could actually see it. Now, but not everyone says that. Tosfos says that it's the beginning of the fruits are beginning to grow, which is earlier than the Rambam. But you could also observe it. You could actually see that the fruit is actually starting to grow. There's other people explain. There's explaining they want to explain in the Rambam and there's other opinions that they want to say that people usually say it's a sap, right? That was common. You're not the first one to say this. This is already when the sap starts kicking into the trees. But he says that the reason why people say that is because in certain lands it's just the sap is just starting at this time. But he says if in Eretz Yisrael, which this is what we're talking about, Eretz Yisrael, you see the fruits already growing a little bit. The fruits are already growing at that point. He wants to say that based on this meiri.
By the middle of January, which is roughly when in Israel the fruit's already growing.
A little bit, yeah. So he brings a meiri. And meiri says that's kanat is when a pre-cotton, it sells pre-cotton. It's when the small fruit starts coming out. And he's medaik in the Lashon. The Lashon it says the Pedis Ilon is starting to have chanata. Not the tree. If it's a sap, then why does it say Pedis Ilon? But some people say chanata is right. Someone said blossoming. You said blossoming. Someone said blossoming. You said blossoming, right? Mm-hmm. People say blossoming. So we have different stages, starting from it was common for people to say sap, but there's blossoming, and then there's just the beginning of the fruit coming out, and then there's a later stage when it's like almost the third. So what are the halachas? You mentioned one of the halachas, which are negeya to the Shoshana Lilanis. One of the differences is we said benegeya, knowing if you have to take meiser oni or meiser sheni. So there's another din benegeya meiser. Meiser, you're not allowed to take meiser from 1 year, fruits from 1 year for the other year. You have to take meiser for that year. You can't take from 1 year on the other. It says Asar to Asar, which shana b'shana. He has to take it for each year for its year.
So you miss a year, you failed.
So you have to take from the fruits of that year. You can't take.
But if you didn't do it the year before, it's too late.
So you take from the fruits from that year.
Oh.
The fruits are staying around.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even if you missed it, you could take from that year.
Right. So let's say you took an esrog. You now esrog is actually different. And again, when you're chayiv a meiser, right? When we just said about fruits, we said that you're chayiv a meiser when it reaches, let's say, a third, or there's different amounts for each fruit, and how much has to grow before Chamisha to the Shevat. So it goes after the chanata, right? So until now we see Pedis Ilum goes after the chanata is by its growth. Esrog is different. It's similar to yarak, to vegetables. That the chi of a meiser starts from when the lakita, when you take it off the tree. Right? It's different than most fruits. It's an exception. Most fruits it goes after the chanata, after the growth. Doesn't make a difference when you take it off. It has to do with when it reaches a certain stage of growth. And esrog is different. Esrog it has to do with when you take it off the tree. So
Well, why does it go when the beginning? You're gonna count on the beginning. You're gonna take it off. You're not gonna give it that way.
it's true.
You should give. It should be counted when it's done. Why
Right.
should be counted from the beginning?
Right.
It's not worth anything. You can't sell it even.
Right.
So why is it shouldn't even count it? It
Right.
shouldn't count as Misa,
Right.
anything.
I don't know. It's probably a limud. I don't remember what time. It's probably there's a limud or something.
Esrog is stays in the tree for many years. He keeps on growing. You cannot. That's the password is like you can't nature.
Uh-huh. So which means if you take a esrog off the tree, erev Chamisha Asar b'Shvat, which means today, if you would take an esrog off the tree now, if you're in Italy now, right, or whatever, yeah, you take off the tree, and then you take another esrog after tomorrow, basically tomorrow. So then you would not be able to take meiser from one from the other.
There's only an earth to sell. You don't do it if you choose outside.
Right. You're right. So I shouldn't say Italy, right? Yeah, you're right.
We don't take,
And Eretz Yisrael there's a lot of esregim also. Yeah. Okay, there's another naf. So this is going to get in meiser. So we have two nafkim is going to get in meiser, and two halachic ramification. One is that for if you take meiser shein or meiser ani, or you can't take meiser from one year to the other. Another difference is going to get arla, right? What's arla?
First 3
years.
Yeah, you
Right. First 3 years you can't eat from the fruit for the first 3 years. So to be honest, right? So there's a machlekes. It's not so cautious. So arla, I'm saying officially goes from Rosh Hashanah 3 years. But let's give this example like this. If 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, right? Rosh Hashanah means Aleph Tishrei. So we have to be clear. So so let's say it was extra 14 days before the 30 days. This way it could start having klita as you planted. Let's say, yeah, right. Very good. On Chamisha Asar B'Av, you planted, so you have 15 days for the seed to be niklat, to be absorbed and to start kicking off, and you have 30 days before. So that's already considered a year. Halachically, that's considered a year, even though it's not a full year. It's only 44 days before, but that's already considered a year. Now, when you come to Rosh Hashanah, Aleph Tishrei, so now you're up to year number 2, right? So you're starting year number 2, and then you go until the next Rosh Hashanah. Let's say in Tafshin, this is Tafshin Pei Hey, and now you started Tafshin Pei Vav. Tafshin Pei Vav is starting the second year of our law.
So you're saying you start to Tafshin Pei.
Pei Hey, right?
You planted, let's say wheat.
We're talking. Let's talking about a tree, right?
Tree.
Okay,
So for Orla, so let's say whatever.
right,
Even the Shana is considered 1 year.
right.
It takes much longer than.
Even
Oh, it's other.
More days, 1 year.
So you have from Tafshin Pei Vav till Tafshin Pei Zayin, right? So that's the second year, right?
Right.
And then when you come to Tafshin Pei Ches, Rosh Hashanah Tafshin Pei Ches, that's 3 years, right? Okay. So he says,
but was it 44 days before Aleph Tishrei or 44 days before Tu B'Shvat?
before Aleph Tishrei, 44 days before Aleph Tishrei.
But if you planted it after the less than 44 days, that's when the English right does start.
1 second. So let's say you did it before 44. You did it 44 days, which means before 30 days before Aleph Tishrei. Then Tafshin Pei Vav. Tafshin Pei Vav, so that's 1 year. Tafshin Pei Vav to Tafshin Pei Zayin is 2 years. Tafshin Pei, where are we holding? Tafshin Pei Ches is 3 years, right?
2 years and 44 days.
Right, but we count it like 3 years. But the fruits which grow until Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, Tafshin Pei Ches, are all going to be considered arla. They're going to be Asar forever. That's all considered. The fruits until Tafshin Pei Vav is still considered arla. Which one? The chanata. Ones with chanata on the tree before Tafshin Pei Vav, Chamisha Asar. Sorry. Tafshin Pei Ches. Yeah, did I?
Till Tu B'Shvat.
Tafshin Pei Ches. Anything which had chanata before Tavshin Tu B'Shvat Tavshin Pei Ches is going to be arla. It's going to be arla.
So it's 2 years, 44 days, plus whatever from Rosh Hashanah, Aleph Tishrei until.
Whichever fruits
Tu
had chanata
B'Shvat.
until exactly. Yeah.
So it's less than 3 years, but
Right. It's going to be less than 3 years, but it's going to be yeah. Right.
And 44 days isn't even like half a year.
No, but then we count.
Right.
Shouldn't it at least be 2.5 years, let's say? Like, you know, you have like you have that in halacha, you have like a lot of things that are like at least half a day, or
Right.
like for example with the meat thing, right? You wait, you have to meet. Some people don't do the whole 6 hours. Some people do 5.5 hours, 5 hours, 30 minutes, or something like that.
Right. There's a limo that we learn also for 30 days. Well,
when you have something formal, you take it off the tree at a certain point because you want that the new things that grow should be permitted because after the 3 years.
right.
At a certain point, you're going to cut them so that something new grows in Tavshin Pei-Ches from that land that you planted 44 days or Tavshin Pei-Vot.
Right.
So that's the chanota that you're talking about.
Right. Right. How there's a lot of different cases like you were mentioning, Rabbi, less than 30 days. And I don't want to get that complicated. I think it's got complicated enough. But another discussion is about Shemitah. Okay, the Shiloh is going to get Shemitah. How does it work for Shemitah? So if you look in the Mishnah, and we're quoting the right beginning of Rosh Hashanah, Masechta Rosh Hashanah, it says that Aleph Tishri is for Shemitah also, right? It says it clearly. But some people, is some Rishonim, they learn that this is what it says for Shemitah in the Mishnah, that is Aleph Tishrei, that's only going to get working. But for Tedes Ilan, we go after Chamisha Asar Shevat, which is going to be a Chumrah and it's going to be a Kula. It's going to be we're going to something lenient about that and something strict is going to come out of that. Okay, again.
So Shemitah by Shemitah it goes by
So machlekes, but so for working, for sure you can't work the field starting from Rosh Hashanah of Shemitah,
right,
which means Aleph Tishrei,
right.
until the end of until the 8th year. That's straight. When it comes to the fruits, so there are those
From 7 to 8.
there are those who say we go after Chamisha Asar b'Shvat. So the Shalah is the one is this opinion. The Shalah, and there's actually it seems like from the Sifra, it sounds like the Shalah also is basically saying like that, and the Aruch, I mean Hananel, they all go with this Chiddush Shita that it goes after Chamisha Asar b'Shvat also for Shemitah, and it's going to come out like this. He says you're allowed to eat the fruits of Shemitah until, even though it's the Shemitah year, until Chamisha Asar b'Shvat. Which means starts the Aleph Tishrei Shemitah year.
You can't work it, but you can eat.
You can't work, but you can still eat the fruits, the Pei Silam.
That are grown from the previous year.
She even grown that year, whatever. Yeah,
Okay,
grown
in
from
the way it makes sense.
Have the trees inside the greenhouse, and you have somehow make them have fruits before Tu B'Shvat, you could still eat it.
Still eat it. And also, but yeah, also chumrah. Something strict about it is that the next year, even though you're in the 8th year, you cannot eat according to this opinion. You cannot eat the fruits until the 8th year Chamisha Asar b'Shvat.
Oh, so you're getting a year anyways. Either way,
What's the
Yeah, what is halacha?
either way, you're not gaining. You're
Eretz
you're not
Yisrael
gaining. You're basically it's even.
Let's say Eretz Yisrael. What's the halacha l'maaseh? Can you eat in the 7th year of Shemitah the fruit that was grown from that year up until Tu B'Shvat? It is there is definitely halacha
How's that?
l'maaseh for it. I mean, we would know in Eretz Yisrael today they have Shemitah, so it's
They still do?
so that the seems like most people argue with the shita, even though it has a lot of backing, saying Lamaisa seems like it's probably they don't follow this. They don't follow this.
so what do they follow? What do they?
No, they follow the regular year, but
So then-
We'll say you don't gain basically. I mean, you don't really gain.
So
You get the same
But
year.
basically, you have the ones who say you follow the regular is basically the Pashtus Harama. Pashtus Harama is that you do follow the regular year.
which is
That
you
from
can't
Aleph
eat-
Tishrei till Aleph, the fruits is also for Aleph Tishrei to Aleph Tishrei.
okay. So nothing to do with Tu B'Shvat.
But right, and that's the way that Pnei Yeshua writes, and that's the Kiva Eger goes with this way. And the Shalah is the one who says that it follows Chamisha Asa B'Shvat. But
Okay.
but the Shulchan and Rav Kook also argues on it very strongly. But Rav Zevin brings that the Sifra actually sounds like the Shalah, and he brings from other Rishonim to Arak ben Chananel, um and it's interesting also that the Maram Rottenberg, right? He says when he brings Benegiyah saying Tachnan and Chamisha Asa B'Shvat, he says why don't we say he brings that we hold like Beisul Chamisha Asa B'Shvat Rosh Hashanah for Ilanis for Meiser Ula Shvius. He also writes Shvius also.
Wow. So he agrees with this law.
So
As you saw, there's a machlokes.
I don't know. I actually know. But I know he brings also the Chazanish also. Chazanish also brings this the Shitta. So I don't know.
But there's certainly,
I didn't look it up
an
before.
opinion that holds by Tu B'Shvat that I mean, according to this law and according to that
Right.
could
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. So
there's something to
Sorry.
rely on. There's
I'll
something
look
to
it up.
rely on if you do
Right.
have somebody holds like that.
Right.
You can eat fruit up until Tu B'Shvat of that of the.
I wonder if people are machmir. Like the question is people. I don't know. I don't think anyone's gonna be makel. I don't think anyone's gonna be makel to start from Aleph Tishrei to Pei Zil. The question is if you have people, people who are machmir after Shvius also. That's the question.
But most people hold that.
They take care of everything for you.
I mean, that's a smart.
But most people hold for Rosh Hashanah, right?
Yeah,
That's alone, right?
Pashtus. Now, what about the fact that it's a Yom Tov? Okay, now we're up to the fact that we're called the Yom Tov.
Oitzer Beis, because in
Huh?
Shabbos also eat sandwich. If you do Oitzer Beis,
Right.
Hanata. So now we're going to talk about it as being a Yom Tov. This is the halachic part of it. But now, what about this that we say Chamisha Asa B'Shvat is a Yom Tov? Where does that come from? Right, where does that come from? So
But when you say Yom Tov, it's because the topping. That's
okay. That's something we're going to see. You don't fast on it on that day,
Right.
and so where did they get that status? So it's not mentioned in the Gemara. It's not mentioned in the Geonim. It's mentioned in the Rishonim. The Rishonim started mentioning this. You start from the halacha brought in Shulchan Aruch. Halacha says that if a tzibur wants to make exedas tainas bahab is if you would fast on Monday, Thursday, and then a Monday afterwards. Usually they would fast after Yom Tov in case something wasn't done properly. So if somebody wants to, if a Gzeda wants to, if something happened and a tzibur wants to fast, Bahab wants to fast Monday, Thursday, Monday. So then, and what happens is, then it comes the Tainus Chamish, the Tainus hits Chamisha Asar B'Shvat. So then the fast it says in Shulchan Aruch, the fast is pushed off to the next week. We don't do it on Chamisha Asar. We don't fast on Chamisha Asar B'Shvat. So this is brought in Shulchan Aruch. Where does this come from? So already we're starting working our way back. It starts from in the Martchai in the Argais Maimonides, the Shainim. They say that they bring a tshuva, which we're going to see soon is brought from Maram in Attenberg. He's the mucker, and he says that their tzibur wanted to make a gzeda of a tainus, and he didn't, are they allowed to fast if it's Chamisha Asa B'Shvat? And it's very interesting. It says where does he learn out that there's no fast, that you can allowed to fast, because in the Mishnah it says Daled Rosh Hashanim. So he puts it together all the Rosh Hashanim. So he said just like the other Rosh Hashanim, you don't fast. So also right, one of the is Nisan, right, and Tishrei. So also this also and also Aleph Shvat. And then, so just like those you don't fast, it happen to be Rosh Chodesh, they're all Rosh Chodesh happens to be. So this one also don't fast. That's the limit. That's the whole makir. So he says,
What's Aleph? This is the
no,
What's the reason for it?
all four are mentioned together. Daled Rosh Hashanah. So if you go through Aleph Tishrei, you don't say Tachton. And the other one is you have Aleph Shvat.
okay.
And then there's Aleph Nissen. All those you don't say Tachton. So he said, since they're put together, since even though Chamisha, Tezvat,
Okay, so but again, so they're all Aleph. They're not. Tu B'Shvat is only according to base.
you're right.
Just
Just because he put it together, Daled Rosh Hashanah, it's mentioned together, says that it's addition. He says that therefore we don't.
Okay.
And he brings it. Rabbi Zevin actually says, where do we find such a concept that you do such a thing that because all mentioned? It sounds like a Chassidish Shemaisa.
Right.
So he says we find also in it says Esenatius and the Gemara says Esenatius Arava v'Nisach Hamayim all Lacha Meshim and the Gemara learns out one from another that only since these are Bismash based on Mekshkai and the other ones also. So we see this concept that if something is taught together, so we learn one from another. So if he says therefore.
We could learn, but at the same time, you could argue that the reason why you don't say Tachon is not because of being a Rotatona, but because of being Shchoid.
Good, yeah.
So, but it still didn't take it. Now we have to understand why he didn't want to take it, and he still the thing was stronger.
But it's not Rosh Chodesh. It's Rosh Hashanah of Ilana. Rosh Chodesh is the Aleph Nisan.
But if the question, maybe the people that made the question, they didn't know how to make the question, but he knew how to make the halacha because it was Rosh Hashanah. So the people came with the question that, hey, all the Rosh Hashanahs that says in the Torah, in the Mishnah, and they're bundled together, you don't them. You could argue that the reason is because it's because Rosh Chodesh, not because of the Rosh Hashanah.
Right.
So, but the Rishon said no, it's because it's Rosh Hashanah.
Right. So then where's the marker for the marker for this? So in the Maram, it finishes off Gershom Rabbi Yehuda, which means who's that? Rabbi Gershom Agela. So the marker of this whole of the tshuva, where does the tshuva really come from? Rabbi Gershom Agela. He's the marker that we don't see tachnon on Chamisha Asar B'Shvat.
Let me ask you something. How did the Sfardim do? Because he was Gershom Ragoilo, he was in Iraq, in Babel. He learned.
We'll bring something about the Sfardim very soon. We'll bring something about the Sfardim. Yeah. Right, a lot of things we don't do with the two sisters with the two marrying two wives.
Say that he made here, but he
and doesn't apply to
all these stories that came from.
So what? It's like a yontiv. That's why you don't say tachnon.
He says that we learn now since it says the Daled Rosh Hashanah, so therefore we don't fast, and we also don't say tachnon. So there's another.
Everybody holds that way.
Yeah, everyone says it, and very interesting that the Magen Avram. He says like this, right? This is how strong we say about not saying tacht and chamish asar shvat. He says about a chasen the Rama writes that a chasen on his day of his chuppah, right? He's supposed to fast, right? But if it falls out in the month, if he's getting married in Nisan, so then he says it's only a minute, and therefore he should still fast. What?
The story about both you about this. I'd like to.
So he says, since not fasting in Nisan is only a minute, therefore a chasen could fast. But says the Magen Avraham, Isru Chag, Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, and Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, you don't fast. Why? Since it's mentioned in the Gemara. It's mentioned in the Gemara. It's not mentioned in the Gemara, right? So obviously.
Why is he mentioned the Gemara?
So obviously, what does he mean? He means that since it's mentioned Daled Rosh Hashanah Haim, and it's part of the other Rosh Hashanah, so it's as if. So the Magen Avraham gives it the toikif as if it's like mentioned in the Gemara that you don't fast on. It's such a strong thing that a person, even though in this sin he could fast because only a minute, but a person won't fast on Chamisha Asar B'Shvat. Now, what about Tachnun? So that's mentioned. So that's mentioned Shulchan Aruch in Filos Hapayim that Norgu Shaloi Lipol Apneim Tazva Ba'av V'Lei Tazva B'Shvat, and the Beiseisa brings it as Norgu Olam, and Maril he says Shevat is considered a melech. Why is it a melech? Because Chamisha Asar is Rosh Hashanah for Ilanis, and Chamisha Asar you don't say Tachnun.
Tomorrow is a long Tachna, so we don't say nothing.
Don't
Monday.
say nothing.
Nothing.
No, it's no Tachnun.
So it can go. Talking goes with it after. You know, on Monday.
No
don't say
Tachnun.
you
No
don't say
Tachnun. Oh no. So
I mean, today we also don't say.
no.
no, you don't say. So Maram Rattenberg, he's the first marker. He says you don't say Tachnun. And Chamisha Asar b'Shvat in the morning. He says. He actually says the Chamisha. No, 1 second. That's what the Maram Rattenberg says. The Achreinim add that even the Mincha, even beforehand, you don't say. And the
Again,
Mishnah says it out. The Rebbe says it. It says in the city. You don't say also the Mincha also beforehand. And if it's on Shabbos, you don't say. Sorry.
Davis.
He said.
Hey, I'm here. I'm listening.
In other words,
1 second. It's not too much shot.
The certain kedusha there, and they found the.
We found they knew there was something special about it.
Yeah, you started from Erev, the special kedusha started.
So if you wait in a minute, we're going to talk about
That's it.
Chassidus. Chassidus, what is Chamisha Asar b'Shvat?
Mincha is not too much fun. At night it's too much fun.
Right, just like all the days, right? With Erev Shabbos, exactly. The marker is Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos we don't say because already the kedusha of Shabbos already starts, right?
That's coming in.
So 1 second. On Friday nobody says Tachlin. Yeah, they do.
Like Mincha, you don't say Tachton.
No, but Mincha, no.
So we're talking about Mincha before, right?
Oh.
So what is,
We have kedusha people also in the morning also. They're happy already.
right? What are some minhagim, special minhagim for Chamisha Asar b'Shvat? So the
Take Tachlin anyway.
the Magen Avram says. Now listen, wait 1 second. It says Noigam Ashkenazim. It says Ashkenazim are noig to be laharbis v'mini peidish ilanis to eat a lot of fruits of ilanis. So Rabbi Zevin asks. He says, I don't know why he said Ashkenazim. He says it seems like the Sfardim are more medactic minig, right? Than Ashkenazim. So Chamisha Asar b'Shvat
Was in Poland, and he said that I know that the people in Germany they eat a lot, not because he's Ashkenazi.
Chamisha Asar b'Shvat. Yeah.
The Ben Ish Chai,
Yeah.
was very rich. He used to send to Israel 500 big platters for different Talmidei Chachamim. Send it with the boat maybe a month before.
Before Chamisha Asar b'Shvat.
Yeah, they get to Israel about Shvat time, and for $1,000. He's very makpid.
Wow.
It's just
So
fresh.
this is what they said in Svardish Menhagim. It says like this: the Svardim shall learn in the yeshivas. They learn the whole night, and to Mahadir eat all mini peiris which are found in the city, before each fruit, and afterwards you learn special things from Malukot, from Tanakh and Zayir, and Shadavin and say Shidduch and Tfilos, Mizmenim Yuchadim. I say a lot of Chassidish also do that. They also do. My in-laws also do.
Is
What?
there any environmental things related to it?
Right.
Isn't there a priority?
Yeah, Shiva Minim. Yeah. The Rebbe had on his table by the Fabringim, Chamisha Shvat, and was Medaik to take something from the Shivas Minim.
Isn't there an environmental aspect also to the holiday?
What do you mean?
It sounds that fruits from the area.
Like we're not
Nowadays also,
like we're supposed to try to not cut down the tree. We're supposed to preserve the trees. Like even there's a commandment in the Torah, you're not supposed to cut down.
Yes, that's a very interesting topic. Yeah, it needs a whole share for itself. Yeah.
Because it
You want
says
to cut down the tree, you can't do it.
it says in the
Right,
it says in the midrash. It says in the midrash that Adam was told by Hashem that Hashem told Adam Rishon that I'm creating one. This is not an exact quote, but I'm creating one world. Do not destroy it, for if you destroy it, there will not be another.
Yeah. There's a lot to talk about. It. Right.
So
Let's finish this off.
You're supposed to be conscious of not
I
destroying.
just want to finish off a few things. 100%. So the minute by the Chassidus it says by the Bnei Sasker says the Bnei Sasker he says a minig is the davin for a esrog kosher, a beautiful one, and Chamisha Asar b'Shvat that you should have. That this year Hashem should give you a nice esrog for the mitzvah. And some people have the minig. Also Chassidus to fry their esrog, on Chamisha Asar b'Shvat and to tag them and honey and whatever it is.
Limiting left.
And there was the tzaddikim also used to wear Shabbos clothing. I don't know the minig in Barpar, but I know that they do a lot of it. The fruits. My in-laws all from Barpar. They have also they do a lot of different fruits. Where they say different things, say different. And Baruch Aleinu, that's right. What else was is
very good thing is Chanita. The whole thing was possibly inside the tree. That's all over the world. It's not your favorite flow. that it comes out because.
Different.
Boy.
It depends.
We all agree that Chanita
Is that right?
means a lady that name is Chanita.
Everywhere it's different. Depends on the weather. Different. Everything. Different.
No, but it's really here when it's.
I think there's a difference. I think there's a difference depending on the weather. I think, right?
Here in the winter, it doesn't start, you say?
That's the farm. I don't know, but I think it should be a difference.
I mean, when it needs to be a little warmer, because there it's frozen, time of year is also cold.
Right. It's probably not as cold. There's
Not that much.
No, it's good. Thank you.
one last thing, but let's 2 more minutes. Let's finish up, unless you're running. I don't know. Let's finish off. Ah, all right. You have to run. You have to run.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Because Rosh Hashanah, the Ilan is we eat fruits. Fruits is shmak. Right? So it has to do Ilan. It says the Gemara says is if it's a Talmud Chacham, first a Talmud Chacham means learn the Torah, which means learning Torah with like a shmak. That's what the Rosh Hashanah the Ilan is. Fruits is not something that tvua is things you have to bread and you need to eat, but eat about fruits it has to do with enjoyment. So enjoyment is enjoyment of learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. That's what Rosh Hashanah Leilanis is about. That was just the okay. So this
By the way, Chanita, in Egypt, they used to lachanot et hamitim. That's the same word.
yes
They used to do Chanita.
and bomb
Yeah.
It means that he put something into it.
yeah. So this day the Rebbe says like this: Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, Chamisha Asar B'Shvat. Ulan shows on Torah. We just said the Gemara in Tainus says, right, that it refers to Talmud Chacham. And Adam eats asada. The Adam eats asada, right? So we haven't seen this kayak. This day is a day that Rebbe says the Ilan is the Rishon of the Ilan is since it's showing on Torah. This day we get power for the whole year. But yeah, learning Torah. That our learning Torah should be
The power would.
here. We get special keiches.
Koyach.
Get ashbois.
Got kedusha that doesn't allow us to say tachlim.
Oh, but that 100%. I want to talk about tax actually. Very good.
Why? What's the reason why we don't see tackling all these?
Okay, very good. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll bring it up soon.
Yeah.
So to learn Torah b'shkida basunda, we get kayak to learn b'shkida basmada, and the Torah we learn should be your geschmack, your chayas, right? Because we say the fruits of the tree is about geschmack, enjoyment, right? We say right? So Taisa says that the filak between right there's things which were mukhrach which we have to have, and then there's fruits. There's extra geschmack, things which are geschmack. So it's about being able to
Try to live in.
yeah. Because since Rebbe talks about in the Maimer over here, he says since every Yid is one with Hashem, and the Torah is Hashuyim of Hashem, and Torah is an enjoyment of Hashem. Hashuyim l'fanav, it's Hashem's enjoyment. Since we're one with Hashem, so therefore we also enjoy Hashem's Torah. Since we're one with Hashem, that's the real reason why we're enjoying the Torah. We think we're enjoying it just because it's nice, it makes sense, and it's geschmack, nice seichel. But really, it's because our neshama is really enjoying the Torah since we're one with Hashem, and it's just Hashem's enjoyment. And this gives us the koyach. Since all the Rosh Hashanahs we say are connected to each other. So even the Rosh Hashanahs which are connected with doing Kabbalah with mitzvahs and different things, so they also get their geschmack. Even our mitzvahs, the things which we're just doing because we have to do it. We also have a geschmack. We have a geschmack that also. Now, I want to ask something. The Rebbe talked about Tavshalam and Aleph. The Rebbe wanted everyone to know about this. That he said this is the time. And we have to be. The Rebbe came down, Tavshalam and Aleph. The Rebbe made a surprise for bringing. No one was ready for this, and the Rebbe said this Maimer, and he said whole Fabrengen about learning Torah, learning with the Geschmack, learning a lot of Torah. So he says now's the time, and the Rebbe edited this piece to be put out. He says that now's the time that we need to conquer the world through working hard and adding and learning Torah. Mm-hmm. This needs to be also by Bali Asakim, also by people who are working. Even though a person who's working has certain times that he doesn't have to learn the whole entire time because he's busy, so he just needs to set time when he can learn. So first of all, we should add in the quality of learning. When we're learning, we add in our focus and our concentration, Eon and Yagi, and working hard on learning, and also to steal time from the business in order to learn Torah. To gazzle time, to steal time from the business. Wow. And for sure, by people who are yeshiva oil, for sure, and people who are in yeshiva, for sure, and people learn Taim Chatzimim, for sure they need to show an example to learn, adding and learning Torah. And it's connected, like we said before, the Shoshani Lilanis, like we said, the key, because it says in Gemara and Tainas, Ki Adam Eitz Asades, talking about Tamachachim, which is compared to Ilan. So the fruits, right? So it has to do with learning Torah. Yeah. So when we plant, it says Zayim Medima, those who plant with tears, Bedini Xedo, they're gonna reap with joy, which means it takes work. Sometimes for a tree to grow, it takes a lot more work than for wheat to grow. Sometimes takes a lot of years to make it. So it should be actually a melim b'Torah, to work in Torah. So it represents work, a yigiyah, but all of it should be with simcha. And we don't say with no tinus, and we don't say no tachnum.
There's no tinus tonight or tomorrow.
No, and so the Rebbe said to the Farsinan. Now, about Tachnun. Just want to bring up about Tachnun, since people are asking about Tachnun.
What's the reason why all these tables
right. So how come we don't say Tachnun l'chura? You have things which you need to fast. You need to say Tachnun for, and how are you taking care of those things, right?
Matter of fact, it's just opposite. When I think of some people that I'm taxing them, taxing them, right?
Right.
So just opposite is a privilege. You can say achit.
100%. By the way, I want to preface, because you're saying that, I want to preface it that in Chabad, the approach to saying Tachnun is like you're saying a positive one.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying that there was a letter that Rebbe wrote to Bar Mitzvah Bacher, and why we don't say Tachnun, and on his why we do say Tachnun on a Bar Mitzvah. He says because this is the greatest simcha. You know that when you're starting your life as a bar mitzvah bacher, when yourself ila mitzvahs, that you know that you have an opportunity to be able to do tshuva and to be able to say tachna, to be able to say sorry, because everyone messes up, everyone makes mistakes. So this is the greatest thing, the greatest gift that you're able to have. You're able to say tachna. So, and also we know for Yartzeit also the Frierdiker Rebbe, which the Yartzeit was this week at Shevat. He said that what's a better day to say tachna than a day of a Yartzeit, and then you could accomplish a lot. So we actually do say tachnun on a yahrzeit. So, and there's a lot of things in there's more. I don't want to get into it about positive about tachnun. So that's a good thing. So that makes the question stronger. How come we don't say tachnun on? How come we don't say tachnun a lot of these special days?
Just you should say tachnun. Why not say tachnun?
Right. So right.
Nowadays he's clean because he's
yeah.
He has no chait. One second.
But he does say achet. Yeah.
No, he doesn't say achet.
Only he says vide. He says vide by just
right. So then there's the opposite. Why doesn't say tachnun?
Right. So the answer is that these days, which are Yimei Ratzin, these are auspicious days. These are special days, which Hashem is the goodwill. Hashem has a Ratzin. So those things, the things which we would accomplish through our Tachnun, are accomplished Mamailo by itself. It happens by itself. Mamailo is the Kedusha of the day.